I decide to try out Shudder. A really strange movie that shows the intro of what looks like a girl underwater drowning, but then that never becomes a thing later. There's a lot of jellyfish and Idarians, so we're guessing it's gonna be about that. This is where we meet Seoban. She's a boring student who is all about her work, and her teacher's like, go out there and have fun, bro. So she ends up on a boat as a student intern, sort of, and good lord, the people on the boat are so freaking stupid and overly superstitious. I get it, that's supposed to be the themes of sea vessels, but it becomes a little bit too ridiculous, some of the superstitions that they have. Because then you gotta figure, at some point it's confirmation bias. Or if you're that superstitious, you can also be of the mind that you make your own luck. So by you saying something is bad luck, you actually end up making it bad luck.
It makes me feel very, lucky.
Suri, you haven't met Siobhan.
What the fuck?
Do we have a problem?
Fucking hell, man. Well, she's pleased to meet you too, mate. Does the skipper know about this?
I really love how they treat redheads, like in general, as though they're these objects. I wonder how many of these poor people end up getting burned at the stake simply for the color of their hair. I mean, freaking A. What if she had dyed her hair brown or something? Does the luck still work then? Does the luck only work or is activated when the air molecules around you can witness the color of your hair? Or does the dye automatically negate that? What if you dye your hair red? Does the bad luck apply then? What if you're blonde but you have red sprinkle throughout your hair? What if you're part Irish, like my husband, and you only get red tufts in your hair, but your hair is black or brown, but parts of your beard are red? I mean, there's so many questions and so many freaking plot holes with this stupid line of thinking. It just gets me so annoyed. Redheads can't catch a break wherever they go, I swear to God.
Does now?
A redhead.
We've already spent her fee.
Honey, I swear to God, she's bad luck, but I'm totally gonna fap to her later. I love how he looks at her too, as though she should be ashamed of something that she has no control over. And then one of the crewmates has the nerve to tell her to wear a hat for the entirety of her visitation on the ship. Like, seriously, what is this, the 1700s? So we find out the captain of the crew and his wife has lost a child, and to commemorate her, they have an effigy at the butt, or whatever you call it, helm, I don't know, of the ship that looks like a witch burning, like when you string them up when you're about to burn them at the stake. That's what it looks like. It doesn't look very flattering, and it makes her little girl look like a demon has possessed her in the afterlife. I get what they were going for, and it's endearing, and it's supposed to be sentimental, but when I look at that, and then I think, oh, that's to remind me of my daughter, that would give me nightmares. I don't want the memory of my daughter to be that. If it's gonna be some kind of significance for your late daughter, maybe taking the red dress off, not like unclothing her, you know what I mean? But just leaving it as a just bare statue with no color would have been better, because I'm sorry, she looks like a sea witch. Unless that's what their daughter was, which then there's other questions to answer there. We take off to go a-fishing. We meet Omid, a member of the crew, who's the engineer. Jonai, old lady, fuck if I know. We realize that the captain and his wife had brought them off course. I swear to God, I'm getting some Alien vibes. I don't know why. Then I find out later, and it's clearly homage to the old Alien movies, specifically the first one. Since Yoban can't sleep and she's trying to research and pattern find, which is what she usually does, the wife tells her to come here and come look at this, the sea is glowing. So of course Yoban is really enticed by this, and she starts by saying that they're phytoplankton, and she describes what they are. If I were next to her, I would have been so enraptured with what she was saying. I mean, especially since this is not my field, it would be so interesting learning all of that from her, even though I already know what they are. Then it makes me wonder, are people who usually spend a lot of time at sea just cut off from society to the point where they're just woefully ignorant? Because there's a part of it that comes off as endearing, and then it starts to get downright annoying.
It's bioluminescent phytoplankton. It's one of the stories of Neve Kinor.
No, it's not. No.
Oh lordy, it's gonna be another one of these freaking tall tale ass people. I can understand that this has some significance to the story, like it's some kind of fantasy story, but there is literally no reason for this story to even take place in the movie, other than to showcase that this woman is batshit.
She was so sad about losing her lover, Oshin. She gave herself to the sea.
Drowned herself.
No, she is immortal.
Immortals. We'll put their name to the test.
Darling, it's better down where it's wetter.
Take it from me.
Oh my God.
That's her hair lights up the sea.
This bitch is crazy.
Look at Siobhan's face as she's looking at this woman's like, bro. And the music that's playing in the background is as if this is supposed to be endearing. I know what she's thinking. You're grown-ass adults. talking about it's some immortal woman's hair who gave herself to the sea because she was sad. No, bitch, it's phytoplankton. And the music is crescendoing in this poignant, mellifluous harmony to imply that this woman who's telling the story actually believes this. No, I didn't hire you for your expertise. It's not phytoplankton. It's immortal woman's hair. Jesus Christ, it hurts. Everyone sees whales and they're happy because it's apparently a good omen. But Siobhan says, good omen my red-headed ass. Whales aren't supposed to be here. Not in the fishing lanes. She knows something is wrong. Then things really start to pick up as they see this gigantic mass heading towards them.
Hang on, this is gonna be bad.
Of course, conveniently, the radio is smashed to bits, because of course it is. You would think on a boat that's susceptible, being buffeted by storms, would have a radio system that's either secured better or more sturdy? No, this was just a means to think of the most plausibly incredulous way to get rid of their radio. They call down the student to come look at what's happening to the ship. Something is warping the wood. It's clear as she gets a closer look that it's an effect, probably, of them having been hit, and I keep thinking to myself one thing.
Do not touch those! Those are not to be touched by anyone but us, or me!
You'd think there'd be the least bit of common sense on this ship. And, you know, you don't really expect it from the overly superstitious people. Fair enough. But good lord, nothing could have prepared me for what happened next. Talk about subverting expectations, although this is not a very flattering type of the example, and I just don't even know if this is bad writing at this point. I feel like it was just so wholly unnecessary. Because it's almost like they were trying to piss off the audience on purpose. So of course they lean in, and you're kind of like, okay, you touch it with something that's not your hand, and she is the brains of the operation, so she'd lead by example, obviously. You see her not touching it with her hands, you think that you're not supposed to touch it with your hands either, right?
You know what that is?
I mean, I'm shocked.
What does it say about the state of the human mind when the person who is supposed to be the smartest person with the highest level of education on a boat, who has spent most of her adult career working in labs and understanding a controlled environment and the need to quarantine unknown factors, takes her fucking naked finger, sorry, silly dicky me, 2 naked fingers and rubs the slime into her freaking skin like she's oiling it up for an anus inspection. I swear to God, when I saw this part, I wanted to reach through the screen and flick her eyeballs to death. What the hell? I do not understand this. I do not understand how the smartest character here looks at something like this, knows that she doesn't know what it is, and it's very odd, and she's like, you know what, let me use a pencil, but then fuck it, let me not use gloves and just put it around on my finger, because this person, Siobhan, is the most, to a fault, mind you, safe, risk-averse person that you would ever meet, but yet she sticks her goddamn hands in the shit that she doesn't know what it is. She has no idea what the substance is or what it's supposed to do. I mean, if it's warping wood, the first thing I would think, even if I might be wrong, is acid or some kind of corrosive, and you're going to stick your naked fingers in it, you goddamn dumb bitch. Good lord, are they trying to make redheads look stupid? Oh my god, I'm rubbing it in on my finger because it's fun, like a booger. She doesn't even wipe it off her hand. She's like, let me sniff in the fumes. Oh, but on second thought, let me use another object other than my fingers so I can put it on a petri dish and try to ascertain what this is. Right, after you've already contaminated yourself and possibly everything else that you've touched after. Freaking idiot. Does she have a freaking spaghetti noodle for a brain? I swear to God.
Stupidity.
I get this is supposed to be a creature thriller horror movie / whatever the hell this is, but there has to be someone who is capable of creating suspense and danger without the characters being morbidly stupid. I don't know, that's the only phrase I can come up with, because it just doesn't make any sense. Nobody would do this. I expect this from the crew, not from her. Then the captain comes down and he's like, what is that? She doesn't tell him not to touch it. The both of them are looking like idiots. He's like, let me finger it. Let me just put it all up in there. Oh my god. It's an ocean twat. It's a freaking sea anus. Let me stick my finger all up in that anus. That shit looks so fucking delicious. Oh, tasty ass. tight. And while this freaking hole in their hull or wherever this is on the ship is twinking at them, that's the only word I could come up with because I have no idea what you call the whole contracting and prolapsing kind of motion. What, twinking, winking? Who cares? Anyway, you see it doing that, you have no idea what it is, and you decide to stick your finger in there, Lord. I don't know how much more of this I could take. Like, this already made me realize I was not going to get through this sober. Then he's like, it's probably just a barnacle, but since you're a diver, you go out there and remove it. A barnacle, my guy. Well, Siobhan makes her way down there and doesn't find it the least bit odd that there are glowing tentacles sucking on to the side of the boat. Oh, it ain't no thing, just some weird sea creature thing. While it's releasing all its ink, two of the tentacles come up behind her to greet her and say hello, where she discovers there's a bright glowing pupil looking thing. She says she's not going back down there because it's some weird big animal, and they ask her what it is because they sent her down there to investigate. And then they have the nerve to say that she's probably just seeing things because she's shocked. This movie honestly makes people on boats look stupid. And the captain's like, we can catch it and have money to keep the boat, which I can't exactly blame them for, but the student is telling them that they need to get out of there. And of course you're not going to listen, because we need the plot to go along. The winch is not able to remove the squid Nidarian creature that she described, and Johnny, because he's not watching what he's doing, gets his hand caught in the winch, and she just stands there not knowing what the hell to do like a useless person. Keep on highlighting that there's slime all over the boat. Obviously, this is going to mean something later. The slime having the significance of being the thing that people come into contact with so it can infect them. Seriously, I don't get people. What is it with people in these movies and rubbing things around on their fingers? Oh my god, it's a slime from down below deck. Just the knowledge of how many things are in the ocean that can kill you upon contact would make somebody of any freaking intelligence think to themselves, you know, maybe I shouldn't be rubbing this around on my skin. Freaking on land, we have something called poison ivy and poison oak, where if you leave it on your skin, you freaking want to scratch the top layer of your body off. And we have that on land. So the ocean is like a freaking alien planet all by itself. This woman knows this. What are you doing? She tells the rest of the crew that there's another trawler out there. All the captain's thinking about is we're gonna have to split the profits with them, but we need their winch. They may have a bigger one.
This is a mess.
And a radio, says the woman who is supposed to be the one with the most intelligence, but is just as stupid as the rest of them. How is that supposed to help? Isn't it warping the what? Like, there's no seal or... Anyway, they go over to the other trawler because they're hailing them and they're not answering. Big surprise, we find out everybody on that boat is dead. And there's one interesting detail. Not only does it seem as though they all bled out, but one guy is missing his eyes as though something just ate his eyes out of his socket. The only person who makes sense of this, or at least tries to, by questioning how that's even possible, is the redhead, who was probably more responsible than anybody else for infecting everyone with now whatever this is. Surprise, surprise, they also have those weird warpy wood things on their boat too. There's a shot that's supposed to imply that these narwhals or toothed whales, whatever they are dead, but they're probably just napping. The captain had told Siobhan and everyone to keep it quiet because it's probably just sea fever and he doesn't want to freak out the rest of the crew. Apparently, this stuff happens all the time, finding dead people on boats. Then something interesting happens. The thing lets them go. The big squid jellyfish thing that was decomposing their boat and leaving slime all over the place just mysteriously decide, you know what? It was a joke. It was a prank, bro. You're free to go.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
They see the mask coming back and they think it's the jellyfish monster thing coming back to finish off the job. But no, turns out they're luck. It's a payday of fish that are all already dead. Now, I don't know if they did this for the sake of the movie because they couldn't get live fish. But if that was a detail they actually paid attention to, like, maybe I'm giving them too much credit. Why is nobody on the boat concerned that the fish are all already dead? I mean, even if they're really, really deep sea fish that get sick when they come up to the surface. Every single one of them? Every single one? None of them are moving? None? And the net didn't look like it was cast that deep out, which could have been the appearance of the editing in the movie. But then again, fishing trawlers usually go up to 3,000 feet of fishing depth, which would be the mesopelagic zone, and fish there have those weird swim bladder things that pop when they come to the surface. There are trawlers that have the ability to go deeper, but they don't look like they have kind of trawler that has that kind of capability. So if they were maxing out their fishing depth, I guess it's possible.
Science be praised.
Anyway, Johnny's sick. Then we get a very cute cock-blocking scene where he tries to tell her to relax and she makes a pass at him.
Let it go. For a minute. Rest.
What would I do instead?
Oh.
Oh? Oh shit, she wants the D! Yeah!
Are you making a pass at me?
No?
Because I've had people make passes.
Real smooth.
I mean, to give credit where credit is due, at least this conversation sounds natural as they come and super awkward. Usually when they try to do scenes like this, the romantic interests come off as natural as an e-girl's hair, boobs, lashes, and skin.
Excuse me.
What is it?
Handsome.
Because I've had people make passes at me before.
Sure you have.
No, I mean, it would be okay if you were.
Best catch we've had in months. That luck streak's finally over.
I don't think anyone understands how painstakingly annoying that is. Anyway, they're all at the dinner scene, and I'm telling you, this guy being sick, them being relieved that he's okay, and now it turns out he's fine, and them feeling relieved about it all, is eerily like the scene in Alien right before the shit hits the proverbial fan. Do you remember our man here in question and his best friend and everybody laughing and rejoicing at the fact that he's okay despite the fact that he earlier on he had a freaking alien spider hand thing clapped onto his freaking face?
I know that. I don't want to talk about what it made of. I'm eating this. What's the matter? The food ain't that bad, baby. Eat your What's wrong? What?
This is the moment when his friends realized that, yeah, he didn't get off as scot-free as they thought he did. And it was a really heartbreaking scene, especially because of my Ninja Turtle dude over here with the Naruto band. It felt like this guy wasn't acting. I know we're so off topic here, but it felt like this guy was not acting. It's like he was seeing his actual best friend die in front of him. Or he actually believed that what was happening was real. Because his face and how sad he looked and how earlier he was happy and relieved that his friend was okay is what made me want to cry watching the scene all over again. So knowing what we know about that iconic scene, tell me if this does not stick out to you as well, with the setting of the dinner, all the friends around the table, and the guy that everyone thought was sick, all being believed to be okay, but just having some kind of flu-like symptom, only to realize later that he has a parasite inside of his body that's gonna burst out of him and kill him.
No, I'm going.
Let his rope fall around the propeller.
Prop. Oh, it was bad.
Jammed.
At least I'll make a good chicks and.
Clue number one, he's not okay. He wants to dip out in the middle of the ocean and go out for a freaking swim while the ship is going.
Oh God, that's awful.
Clue number two, his eyes are bothering him, and she's like, yeah, you don't look so good, bro. She looks inside of his eye, and lo and behold, there's a freaking parasite swimming behind there.
Fuck.
Jesus, John. Take it easy. Let me see. Let me see. What is it?
We know that the shit's gonna hit the fan because Johnny can't see all of a sudden, and they're worried about him, and then, like a chest burster scene, his eyes turn super red and shit bursts out from his face. They're little larva tadpole things that are now in the water supply. And unfortunately, our very likable character that was supposed to be a love interest to Siobhan is now dead. This is where everyone realizes they have a problem, and Sudi is still taking a shower. A little too late when they cut off the water. They still come popping out of it. This is the first time we see Siobhan show any emotion. She's crying because she didn't get some dick before the guy died. I'm kidding. Or maybe not. I know you never know about some people. They try to make her look like she's not human throughout this whole thing. Would that be enough to break anyone seeing someone that you like suddenly have some freaking ocean space larvae pop from out of his eye holes in front of you? Meanwhile, everyone having told you that your presence on the ship was bad luck. Problem number 600, these larvae, or whatever the hell they are so strong that they've gone clean through the steel plating or the steel mesh of the filters. I mean, it's very convenient and very helpful that they're bioluminescent so they can see them easily. There's a chance that all of them are infected, and Sudi is definitely infected. If you have open sores or open cuts, these things can get in. But then again, they also make the cuts that we see on Sudi's body. They're like freaking razors, so it doesn't really matter if you have open cuts or not. They're still gonna get inside you. Sudi is sick and he knows he's gonna die. I like how everyone prays over the souls of the people who've already died, but they're not praying for them that are already alive to be protected. I mean, I guess it makes sense since it really wouldn't matter. Siobhan tries to find a solution. Sudi is still bleeding. It's like these things are an anticoagulant or something. They try everything, thinking that the fresh water for these helipelagic creatures would render them dead after a few hours, but it doesn't.
slime.
Was it now?
Can you get me my drink? I got my own
Mother. There's no mother.
slime. I'm on that.
Thing that attached itself to the boat. It mistook our boat for an animal, probably a whale.
When you drink a bottle of slime, you can feel the energy coursing through not just your body, but your soul as well.
And when it latched onto us, it produced a regenerative substance. And Johnny had an open wound.
Netflix and chill? More like Netflix and fill me up with your hot, thick cream.
The slime got into Johnny's blood.
I would excuse all of this if the larva didn't fricking cut through things already. I mean, yes, you could have mistook the boat for prey or something, which I find highly unlikely. Because after you latch onto it and you taste that wood, you would think that maybe this is not food? But I guess for the larva to reproduce in the first place, the slime has to enter through an open wound to begin with.
So, the slime got into Johnny's blood, and there were eggs in the slime.
Not were, are. They're still alive.
I guess the way this makes sense is when those tentacle anus things sucked onto the board, that was supposed to make a wound into which the eggs could go, or the slime could go with the eggs. Like I said, taking inspiration from the Xenomorphs from Alien. It's basically the same movie, but instead of a spaceship, it's an actual ship, or boat, or trawler. What size is a boat considered a ship? Or a yacht. Like, I think I get the yacht, but I've seen some pretty big-ass boats, and they're kind of teetering on the line between ship and boat, so exactly what makes a ship and a boat a boat? I could look it up, but I'll forget. They do a test on UV light, but the little spermy animals just keep kicking. So they figured they'd electrocute the boat because the creatures are inside of it. The wife of the skipper is like, hell nah, bro. Boat is my literal reincarnation of my daughter. Siobhan is like, okay, so it's either the boat or our bodies, which is it? She relents and is like, fine, I guess so. They ground themselves with their boots, and since the salt water's a conductor, they pour it all over the slimy deck of the ship. They pop off, and then things go awry when the sea witch effigy of the captain's wife's daughter, their daughter, is electrocuted, and honestly, it's an improvement. I get it, she misses her daughter. I can't really blame her, but good grief. There are other things to worry about right now.
I can always start again. Make another kid.
There's an interesting and an actually comedic conversation between Siobhan and the captain's wife about what they should do when they board. They have to quarantine themselves for 36 hours. You see, old Johnny boy started showing signs and symptoms of the infection after 36 hours. So Siobhan says that they have to wait at least that long to make sure they're not infected. Which, I mean, that's very hopeful because it could depend on the different people and how they were infected. So she didn't take that into account, but for the plot of the movie, let's just say that's what it is. The skipper's wife believes that they'll be better off in a hospital. So Siobhan starts talking about ants and crabs and how the ants started blinding the crabs when they were introduced as an invasive species, inadvertently.
We're making port tonight.
Freya, if any of us is infected, then we'll be better off in hospital.
Hey, somebody come get her. She dancing like a strip.
I don't want to go.
You know Christmas Island has the world's biggest population of red crabs. It used to. So a few yellow ants arrived.
Yellow crazy ants.
And they blinded the red crabs. Just a few ants.
Where is this going?
Now there aren't any more red crabs. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. The crab should have gone to hospital.
Sudi succumbs to his wounds after he becomes blind, but get this, they don't burst out from his eyes. And guess what? The parasites are still swimming around back there having a jolly good old time. They pray over Sudi. Why don't they pray for some smitation upon this freaking sea plague?
Oh, mate's wife is pregnant. We need to get them home.
If they want, they could get themselves to hospital. Now, seriously, fuck off.
But you don't understand.
They cannot hear me! Ah!
Okay!
I love how their reasoning is that they have families waiting for these people back home and they don't want to lose any more of their crew members. But yet, in that very same sentence of them mentioning that they have families back home, they not once consider that they could go home and infect their freaking families and newborn baby. Like, I don't get that line of thinking. I get that they're desperate and whatever, but you were literally carrying something that can kill you instantly, and you don't know if you're infected with it or not. They don't have a radio, great, but everyone's talking about making landfall, not staying off of the dock and setting out a flare or something to get people to help them, like actually going upon land and then going to a hospital. When you know you can get infected just merely touching something that somebody else touches. Like, how stupid can you be? If anything, the fact that you have a family back home should be a reason for you to not want to touch land. But I guess it's realistic because fear makes people do really weird things. Well, someone's gotta be a hero, and so Seobon is like, you know what? Fuck these people. Why don't we stop the whole boat and not have a way to get home after we've stopped it?
What?
I disabled the boat.
The fastest and most thoroughly grounded in physiology and neuroscience for calming down in a self-directed way is what's called the physiological sigh, S-I-G-H. And the physiological sigh is something that we do spontaneously, but when you're feeling stressed, you can do a double inhale.
What the fuck, Siobhan? Come over the side. We've all got cuts.
I get it, and I actually commend her for being brave and selfless to this degree. But, if you find out that you're all not infected anymore and the eggs are all dead, then, how are you getting out of the situation? So just like the movie The Thing, Skipper's wife is like, fine, check all of us to see if we have it.
Not you, Ahmed.
Come on, just let her do it.
The old lady's freaking ridiculous. She's the one you want checking you, you idiot, since she's the only one on the ship with any freaking sense, and was able to identify the fact that Johnny was infected. Good lord, these people.
Scupper does for nothing.
You haven't done me.
I don't need to do you.
What?
You're just gonna. Oh my god, it's so creamy.
I know this is supposed to be some kind of revelation and payoff of suspense, but why is it that she knows that she doesn't need to check him? What is it on his person that makes her believe he's already infected and she doesn't need to check? That's not very scientific of you. You could be wrong, so shouldn't you still check regardless? We as the audience don't even know why the hell he's infected or what she's seen on him to indicate that he is. His wife looks in his eyes and sees stuff inside his eyes. But I would have loved to know what is the physical evidence of this that would make a redhead there decide that she doesn't need to check. What is she, freaking a seer all of a sudden? If she knows that she doesn't need to check him because she's confident he's already infected, then why did she even need to check everybody else? After all, we've just found out that she has the ability to instantly know whether or not someone's infected. Man, the inconsistency of this movie's killing me. So they're unhappy, and the skipper and his wife look at their daughter that they lost, the little sea witch child. He said he's ready to go because he'll be with her again anyway, and he wants to go out on his own terms. So he asks his wife to kill him.
What?
Which I guess is better than having things eat through your freaking skull. Meanwhile, the old woman goes freaking Rambo and tries to kill the redhead. And while Seobon is trying to protect herself, it's so predictable that the old woman's gonna fall and hit her head and instantly die.
Another one bites the dust.
After just having killed her husband, the skipper's wife is like, you know what? To hell with this boat, to hell with you people. I'm gonna go row out and take the only boat that this other thing has and leave you guys stranded here.
Peace out.
And they let her. And now, after having killed her husband, now she decides, oh, it's just a boat, after all. Okay? Let me get this straight. So Seobon says that she is very concerned that this person is infected. Or that they're all infected, and they want to quarantine themselves to make sure that they're not. Granted, taking the rowboat's probably going to take a few days for her to hit the mainland, but what if she is infected? She's still going to hit the mainland. So for all of the bravado and the risk that Seobon took to strand everyone on the freaking boat, why is she now allowing this woman to take the rowboat to where she can eventually get to the mainland?
It doesn't make sense.
Maybe she's guessing that if the woman is infected, the amount of time it would take for her to get to mainland, she would die by that time anyway. But then again, her body will still possibly wash up close to the area and infect other people. So I just really don't get that line of thinking. Like I said, inconsistency, the movie. Now it also turns out that one of the larvae has gotten really big. And because Seobon is psychic, she deduces that it killed all the others and became one big creature.
She is so smart.
So it likes the deep cold. We heat the tank.
What, will that kill it?
No, but it will slow it down.
Enough for us to kill it.
Enough for us to safely return it to the wild.
Just as you would think think this conversation is just insane. This is the person who was all about safety before. She also knows that these things are going around and infecting people to this degree that could be human and world ending of our species. She acknowledges this. So this whole turn of events is just freaking bizarre. It's almost like she became a completely different character in the space of like 5 minutes.
Oh, like, are you insane?
It's a rare animal.
Yeah, so are we.
We're intelligent.
That's debatable.
This is our duty. It's in the wrong place. It only wants to survive. Just like us.
So you're just dying to protect something that wants to kill you.
What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with her?
I hope she's realizing that she sounds as stupid as the people on the boat that she was criticizing mentally. Sorry, but in the wild, which this is right now, if you came upon something that was trying to kill you, you would be fully within your right to kill it back. I mean, that's wildlife 101. Not to mention, these things now have a taste for human flesh. So you would think that that would be enough of a reason for her to be like, let's cull this one so it doesn't go after other boats in the future. You know, I don't know, just saying. So they heat the tank with a torch and they open up Pandora's box. But oh no, the creature's like, to hell with y'all, I'm gonna go through the freaking boat. It tears through the hull because of course it does. And now whoop-de-doo, now the boat is sinking. Good job, y'all. They set the boat on fire as a beacon, tried to get into the raft, and my guy is on a boat, occupationally.
I can't swim!
Oh dear God.
Bro, how are you on a boat as a job and you cannot swim? You would think that would be one of the requirements for you to have that kind of job. And of course, now you put everybody in danger because when you're drowning, now everybody has to go after you. Almeida is able to grab onto the boat, but the tentacle thing just happens to be waiting underneath him and grabs him down there. Zambon's like, look, I'm going to help you. And we're never shown or told why she was afraid of the water to begin with. There was just a light implication of such, but she goes down there to save him. Would have been some great character development, but anyway, he is so happy because she saved his life and they're finally gonna get help because there's a ship in the distance. But oh no, she finds out that she's actually cut and now she's infected because that thing has put its seed/saliva semen inside of her.
So much colorful cream and green. You almost have all the Power Rangers now.
Ami tries to tell her it'll be okay, that they're gonna get her help, but she's like, nah, bruh.
Helen, I have to do this.
She leaps her freaking redhead ass into the water, which I guess is supposed to be a play on the story that Freya had told earlier about being immortal. And this Nigerian, whatever the frick this thing is, she goes into the blinking asshole and I guess she dies. We don't know. We never see her body die. We never see what happens to Freya, but we don't need to. The question is this guy infected? Is he gonna tell anybody about what happened? He destroyed all the evidence they would have had of whatever is going on aside from the other ship that they found. So, and then they did their job to quarantine themselves, which is noble, but then you have to think about it on the other end of the spectrum. By them doing this, knowing that the other ship also succumbed to this, because they know that by now, they knew that, what's to say that this thing hadn't targeted other ships, should it targeted another one, and those people had landfall, or made landfall, and they didn't tell anyone. Would it have made sense, as someone who actually collected data on this thing, to let people know from the beginning, hey, I'm infected, there is something out there that has infected us, this is what's going on. She was trying to help, but she didn't think that far ahead, and by her own logic, it didn't make any sense. Still noble, though. But now, you don't know if this guy's infected. He has cuts all over him, too, and you were touching him up, and your blood was going all over his body, so I mean, you should have pulled him into the water with you, by that logic. But anyway, another thing, it's supposed to be a happy ending. The ship is going over to where he is. His current location. Can you see what is underneath him right now? A giant jellyfish upside down thing with a glowing asshole that eats boats and impregnates them and infects the people inside. So you're literally there with no ability to paddle and you were calling a boat towards where your boat just sunk because of that same creature that infected the people. You know, you see what I'm saying? Like you're literally bringing it into the same situation that you were just in. So now you're gonna pull the boat over to you. This thing's gonna latch on and you're gonna be stuck in the exact same situation you were just in with a whole bunch of new people. So there's that. Don't think too much because it's supposed to be a happy ending. It definitely was a fun movie with a very interesting concept that was kind of like a borrowed concept. Very creepypasta-ish, but good lord were the people stupid. And the logic of this movie is just so freaking flawed. It makes me laugh. That was Sea Fever. If you guys want to watch it, there's a link to it on Shudder if that still exists in the future for you people. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Alteori. You ask, we answer.